Welcome back, guys, and as of late, the creature that has been capturing my attention the most has to be wasps. Now, there are tons of different species of wasps. Specifically, I believe this is a paper wasp. I mean, I know the difference based on color between like yellow jackets, paper wasps, whatever, but I don't actually know what wasp made this nest. So, wasps, I think, are pretty cool. Recently, I found a channel known as Just Joshing, and I would encourage you, if you find wasps interesting, to go check that channel, his channel out as well. He does a pretty cool thing. He's been trying to keep wasps as pets for a long time now, and he's done some pretty cool things, and I think he might actually have a pet wasp nest, at least one right now. But this wasp nest was an active nest last summer, and this summer it was completely vacant, so I cut it out of its little spot, and I've been keeping it just kind of as a display right now. I don't exactly know where I'm going to put it, but anyway, that's what I have right now. For those of you who don't know, this is basically what a wasp nest looks like on the very inside. So this is all protective layer, and then on the inside, as you can see, that's where the actual life cycle begins. So the queen wasp, who's inside who wanders around the nest, actually is the one that starts the nest. Once she has enough worker bees, the worker bees start doing the majority of the work, and she literally, her only job is to wander around the nest and lay eggs. But if you look here, what the female wasp will do is she'll start out with, if you just look at this middle center part, she'll start out with a wasp, like a nest, that are just a few little, like, octagons in size, and slowly she makes more and more, and then as she lays eggs in these, she takes care of them, more wasps hatch out, and then she has more workers that build a bigger and bigger and bigger nest until you have something, in some cases, up to this size. So they basically, the young feed off of what the adults feed them, and the adults go and catch like insects, soft-bodied insects like caterpillars, any little small insects that have soft bodies that they could chew up. They don't actually digest them themselves. They regurgitate them after chewing them up and feed them to their young, who are living inside of these little capsules. So after a little while, if you've ever seen a wasp nest, you know they have those little like white film that covers the individual sockets. That's actually what the larva does when it's like morphing into the wasp, the adult wasp. It covers itself up and then eventually comes out. So just a bit of a, science lesson as to what wasps are and what they do. It's kind of cool. This nest was obviously built, started as a very tiny little bit, slowly was grown as more worker bees came along, or wasps were born. The nest gets bigger and bigger until you have a multi-layer, very large nest. And what's actually kind of cool is the only bit in here that actually has the nest itself is the very center. So you look here, that's where the nest is, and then the rest is all just extra paper layers. Another fun fact, if you look at the nest, you can see how there's like darker layers and lighter layers. Each of those layers, like little strips, is a tiny little bit that an individual wasp actually created. And what gives it its coloring is the colors from trees. So they actually take like some part of the bark of the tree, chew it up, and then mix with their saliva. They make this thin little papery stuff. And there's different colors and different strips because each strip was done by a different wasp at a different point. And they're different colors because they use different tree bark from different trees. So that's just a pretty cool fact as well. And another thing about wasps, they don't live very long. Their life is about, I don't know, it's like 2 weeks or something. But the thing is, the female queen is always laying more eggs, producing more worker wasps. Now, a lot of people have this misconception that wasps literally just sting. But the fact of the matter is, they're very beneficial to have as well, because they pollinate. The adult wasps, like I said, don't feed off of insects and bugs. They actually feed off of nectar, pollen, sweet stuff. So they go out and they pollinate just like honeybees do, just not to the extent that honeybees do. And the other thing is, like I said, even though they don't eat bugs, they catch bugs, kill them, chew them up, feed them to their young. And a lot of the times, these could be pests. So they're benefiting just as much as a bee is, but just kind of in different ways. And for those of you who maybe didn't know, wasps are not bees. Wasps and bees, completely different things. But anyway, the reason I've been talking about all this today is because I'm going to try and capture my own wasp nest. Now, I tried this a couple weeks ago. It didn't work out too well. I only caught a couple wasps that actually stuck on the nest. I'm pretty sure I didn't get the queen, but I've located a larger nest that I think I'll have a better chance of capturing the queen with. It'll be a little difficult. I'll probably get stung, but it'll be fun. And my idea is to put them in this container here. I'm going to stick this in the bottom of the container, shove it in there, glue it to the bottom, because I heard that they like to build their nest on rough surfaces, and plastic is not very natural. And so I'm thinking if I put this on the bottom, then I'll tip this up like side down like this with the nest up there so that they can fly out the bottom, and I can maybe trap them in if I want to like show them to somebody and I don't want to get stung or whatever. And then I could kind of have my own little portable wasp nest. It'll be kind of fun. It'll be a cool experiment, and I'm excited to try this. As I said before, this idea was inspired by a channel I recently found known as Just Joshing. Once again, I would encourage you, if you find this sort of thing interesting, to go check out his channel. He's done some really cool stuff. And so yeah, without further ado, I'll get to work. See you guys in a second. Well guys, as you can see here, I've come up to the birdhouse in which the wasp nest is at the moment. I don't know how well you could see in there. Right underneath the lip, you can kind of see the wasp nest. The wasps are crawling all over it, very active right now. If you look up here, it's actually kind of cool. Wasp got caught in between those layers there, and actually he's now mummified, which is actually pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to be careful. I probably will get stung, but I'm going to take this one step at a time, try and get it out, and I'll catch up with you in a moment when I have it out. I don't want to get stung, obviously. This is pretty scary. Well guys, you can't see all that well. I'm trying to get a good position. Oh, there's a pretty good angle. You can see I have this jar. I've successfully moved every wasp that I caught into there. What I ended up having to do was, I'll set these down here for a second. What I ended up having to do was put a big garbage bag over top of the birdhouse. Then I just took the birdhouse off its pole. I threw them in here for 20 minutes. And then being in the fridge, it cooled their body temperature down, made them less active. They couldn't really fly. And then I just used these. And after using a spatula to scoop the nest up, I shook all the wasps off of it. Then I left all the wasps in the bag in there. Took this outside. I hot glued the nest to the roof of that. Then what I did is it came back down here, and I had a mason jar. Here's the lid to the mason jar. That I slowly used these. Pinched every one, and once I had them between these, I just dropped them in the mason jar, and then I caught every single one of them. And then I actually broke the mason jar, because when I put them all in there, I just had the mason jar sitting in there as well. And I wanted to get the mason jar out, but there was still one that was kind of stunned that was just sitting in the bottom of the mason jar. And then there was one that was flying around like mad in there, and so it flew around and actually got out and was flying around the basement. And of course, when it got out, I jumped back, I dropped the mason jar, shattered it on the floor, but I swept up the mess. And I'll take this out into better lighting and give you a better view. So what I actually have here, paper wasp. So here's the deal. I then hot glued their nest to this. I don't know how well you can see it all because I can't see the screen at all. But anyway, I've put the nest in here. As you can see, I've put it on a piece of cardboard. And I think what I'm going to do is actually stick it on the part of the fence out here, and then open up the lid, because they're a beneficial insect to have around. Like I said, they eat pest critters. So I'm gonna probably put it on the edge of the fence like this somewhere, and then I'm just gonna unscrew the top, let them forage, let them get comfortable in their new nest, new habitat, and we'll see where it goes from there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.